much. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining Beyond Hunger today to hear about our Health Ambassadors Program, which is a neighbor-to-neighbor nutrition education program that increases nutrition security in local communities. My name is Nina Bernasette, and I have the pleasure of being joined by two of my colleagues, Bree and Markeisha, and we just look forward to sharing what we've been up to with this program over the last year. But before we get into introductions, I do want to share the objections of this session. So in this seminar, you will learn how to identify your community's unique health equity and nutrition education challenges. You'll understand how to begin to build a scalable peer-to-peer nutrition education program model to foster healthier eating habits in neighborhoods facing food insecurity and high risk of diabetes. Lastly, you'll increase awareness of empowering people with lived experiences through continued learning opportunities and community engagement. So as mission, I'm Nina Bernasette. I have the pleasure of serving as a programs manager at Beyond Hunger, and I oversee 4 of our special programs. I've been with Beyond Hunger for 3 years, and within this Health Ambassadors work, I worked with Bree on the development of the program, tracked the budget, and recruited participants. Now I want to bring Markeisha, our Health Ambassador, to introduce herself, followed by Bree.
My name is Markeisha. I'm with the Healthy Ambassador Program, and I'm here to share a little bit of my experience in regards to the program.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bree Kellogg. I am the Nutrition Education Coordinator and dietitian for Beyond Hunger. I've been a dietitian for about 20 years, and I've been working in the space of community nutrition for nearly all that time. And like Nina said, we worked together with our nutrition team to develop the Health Ambassador Program over the last couple of years. Back to you, Nina.
Thank you, Bree. So who are we at Beyond Hunger? So Beyond Hunger is the direct service provider serving Chicago's Austin neighborhood and West Chicago suburbs. Our mission here is to harness the power of communities to end hunger. And our specialty is creating equitable programs in partnership with other organizations and clients to end hunger at every stage of life, from emergency food, delivering groceries, to connecting people to benefits. And here's more about our work at Beyond Hunger.
For 40 years, Beyond Hunger has harnessed the power and compassion of our community to serve others. Founded in the late 1970s by a local Girl Scout troop led by Patricia Funk, we've grown to serve people living in 13 zip codes across Cook County, including Chicago's West Side and near west suburbs. Beyond Hunger's food pantry now serves over 40,000 individuals each year, providing carefully selected nutritious food and needed essentials. But we don't stop with a bag of groceries. We also connect people to benefits like SNAP and Medicare savings. We offer nutrition education and cooking classes led by registered dietitians. And we provide summer meals for kids who lack them when school is out. Hunger can seem far away, but it's right here. In Oak Park alone, an estimated 7,000 people are food insecure and don't know where their next meal is coming from. But it doesn't have to be that way. Together, we can end hunger in our community. Please consider joining our team of volunteers to become a local hunger advocate. Visit gobeyondhunger.org to learn more. And thank you.
All right. Now I'm going to introduce a little bit more about the neighbor-to-neighbor diabetes education. The Health Ambassadors Program was an idea that was developed out of the need for community-based nutrition education. And I'm going to talk more about that why we developed this program in just a minute. Essentially, to put the program in a nutshell, the Health Ambassadors Program is a 6-week training program focused on nutrition education and cooking skills. And its focus is diabetes prevention and management. It is a hands-on 6-week training. We really get in there and get busy in the kitchen and in the classroom for 6 full weeks. And it is an in-person class. The ultimate goal for the program is for our Health Ambassador Program graduates to complete training and provide nutrition education in the communities where they live. And now Nina's going to talk to us a little bit about why we chose that peer-to-peer or neighbor-to-neighbor format for our education.
Thank you, Bree. So one of the whys is that we understand the importance of peer-to-peer education and how it contributes to our racial equity work here at Beyond Hunger. So studies show that peer-to-peer education is one of the most effective ways to spread the word about healthy habits and behaviors, especially when it comes to nutrition education space. By learning from someone who's just like them, people are more likely to believe and remember what they're being taught. Plus, it's more of an easier way for people to ask questions and get clarification when a person teaching them is someone they can relate to, right? And let's not just forget about peer-to-peer education, but also the power of community and building relationships with those around you. So as I mentioned, our mission is to harness the power of community. And we know when a group of peers and organizations are all working towards the same goal, it can be super motivating and inspiring. And that's something that we saw through this program that we did. And we also know that by having our health ambassadors do the community work in Austin, it will only further uplift the community and increase nutrition security. So Bree, can you talk about the other whys of why we continue to do this program?
Yeah, and I just saw a question come through in the chat about what is the name of the program that's focused on diabetes education. And our program is called the Health Ambassadors Program. So the why behind why we developed this program. Well, we knew there was a need in our communities for nutrition education. Beyond Hunger and our community partners do semi-annual surveys that ask questions for our program participants to answer. And what we found consistently time and time again is that people were requesting and stating a need for nutrition education. So we knew there was a demand there. We also knew that we at Beyond Hunger have a robust nutrition education program. Previous to the pandemic, we were doing live cooking classes where we would focus on one nutrition topic for anywhere between 4 and 6 weeks and hold cooking classes for 10 to 15 people to join us for those 4 to 6 weeks. In addition to that, we were doing grocery store tours, and now we're doing farmers market tours in addition to the other nutrition programming. And what I found over time is that there are certain individuals who are extremely motivated to take these nutrition education classes. They wanted to learn as much as they could, and they wanted to get involved as much as they could. And so the idea came to me that I wanted to work with our team to develop a pathway for these individuals to expand their nutrition knowledge and then to share it with their community. Sarah, could you show the next slide, please? How did we determine what content we wanted to focus on? So we knew there was a need. We knew that there were motivated people to take the courses, and now we needed to decide what we were going to focus on. Well, this is a map of Chicago, and I was at a meeting with Rush Hospital a couple of years back, and they showed a map very similar to this. And this shows the diabetes-related hospitalization rates across the Chicago area. And what you'll see in the light blue are areas that have a lower incidence of diabetes-related hospitalizations. And then in the darkest blue areas, those are the areas of Chicago, the zip codes that have the highest prevalence of diabetes-related hospitalizations. And then in the orange circle are communities that we serve, 60644 zip code and 60651. These are both in the Austin community of Chicago, and we do see that there is a high prevalence of diabetes there. So as we were shaping this program and talking to our community partners, we knew that we needed to focus our training on not just nutrition education, but also diabetes management and prevention as well. Next slide. So what is the Health Ambassador Program exactly? Before we show the video, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the actual program itself. It is a 6-week training program. Like I said, it's in person. We met once a week for 3+ hours at a time. Our program works with our trainees, but we also we're working with registered dietitians, myself and my coworker, Maria Dellis, who is fantastic in all things cooking. And then we also use dietetic interns to help shape the program as well. And then we brought in other support staff members to help teach various aspects of our program as well. Like I said, we met in person once a week for 3 hours, but then our trainees also had homework every week to work on the module of the week and their lessons of the week. And then we also checked in every week with each participant to see how they were doing. And these check-ins were over the phone to see if they needed extra support before taking our next lesson. And then also to see if we needed to make any adjustments within our lessons or training modules, as we call them. We use that neighbor to neighbor education model like Nina described. And one of the first things that we do in the Health Ambassador program on week 1 is sit down with each health ambassador to set their goals for the program. And we knew that each health ambassadorship would look a little bit differently depending on the individual's goals. So we sat down with them and we had them do a self-assessment and write out their goals for themselves for the program. And that also helped us gauge where each individual was starting this program. What was their nutrition knowledge already? What was their knowledge on diabetes? And where were their interests within this program? This allowed us to get constant feedback throughout the program and allow us to make changes where we needed to, kind of on the fly. So having that constant engagement with individuals in person allowed us to really adjust the program on the fly as needed. Sarah, next slide, please. Here's a little video that we have that describes the Health Ambassador program and what it meant to some of our participants.
My favorite part of the Healthy Ambassadors program is just the enthusiasm that our students have. They're so excited to learn. They're super motivated. They ask a bunch of questions.
No, I just want to thank Beyond Hunger and everyone that is here. I'm really enjoying it, even though it's a little scary at times. But I really enjoy it. Serious, I'm so excited.
I feel this is my calling to be part of this team, and I have been truly blessed. I am looking forward to becoming a health ambassador.
Once you learn the proper technique of cutting up your food, you find that it's not intimidating, it's easy. Now I chop up all my food, I separate it, I put it away for future use. It's wonderful, I love it.
I'm blessed to be a part of the Healthy Ambassador program, and I'm looking forward to going out to help others know how to be healthy.
I'm really excited about helping to teach people that have diabetes, and I have people in my family, a lot of people in my family that suffer with this, but and a lot of times people don't know how to cook the right things, how to eat the right things to stay healthier. So I'm all in with that.
Yeah.
I love that video, and it somewhat makes me emotional. But now you know more about Health Ambassadors program. We just want to take some time to discuss how we developed it. So before we started this new program, we had to consider what it should look like and how this program will fit into our equity work. We also decided that the pilot program will be kicked off in Austin based on some of that information that Bree shared in that chart that she showed. With that, the first thing we knew is that we wanted to pay our health ambassadors for their time of getting trained and conducting these workshops. We knew that by paying them, we'll show that we believe their contributions are valued and appreciated. We also knew that payment will attract a wider and more diverse pool of talent. including individuals who can bring their own experiences, perspectives, and skills, like Markeisha did, but also, most importantly, to attract people who may not otherwise have the time or the resources to do this work or on their own, or the people who have been shut out of similar opportunities in the past due to a variety of factors, right? So now that we know we wanted to pay them, we really had to figure out, for those who apply and are on public benefits, how can we pay them without it hindering their benefits? So we did a lot of research. We talked to a lot of organizations, many of them who were partners of ours, and those organizations all had similar job training programs to basically learn their payment structure. In this research, we learned the best way was to provide a stipend to our health ambassadors that was distributed at the beginning and at the end of the program. Additionally, we decided to offer other benefits, including transportation vouchers of their choosing. So some people want to do the CTA, other people drove, so we gave them gas gift cards. We also offered childcare reimbursement for those who are interested. And then lastly, we provided a graduation gift, and we did an awesome graduation party too. But the graduation gift included kitchen supplies for them to do future workshops in the community, as well as we provided like a cash incentive as well. So after we figured out the payment structure, we started to do recruiting within 3 months of the pilot program launching. We created a description of the health ambassador's work, outlining what they will be doing and the benefits of joining. We posted and shared the description and created a dedicated page on our website for people to learn and apply to the program. Our recruitment strategy included working with our existing partners, looking at who has attended our farmers market tours at the Austin Farmers Market, and talking to participants who visit our food pantry or social services department. We were very intentional with how we recruited in order to attract those who were committed to the program. Once we had a list, our team contacted each person who was interested, discussed the program benefits in more detail and the level of commitment involved. Now I'm going to pass it to Bree, who's going to talk more about the curriculum.
Thanks, Nina. I did see a question in the chat, whether this program was just for adults or whether it was for families and children as well. And while the training program itself is for adults, it's focused on adults who want to be our health ambassadors for the community in which they live. So like I said, the ultimate goal for our program graduates is to go out into their community and give nutrition education classes, nutrition education support, nutrition advocacy to individuals in their community. So they could be working at a daycare center and be giving a lesson on family nutrition. You'll hear from Markeisha later. She's going to be doing a lot of work in the church that she attends in the Austin neighborhood. And that's going to be a lot of work with families as well. So while the training program was geared specifically for adults to come through the program and be health ambassadors, their work as health ambassadors will reach generations across the communities that Beyond Hunger serves. So I just wanted to clear up that point. Thank you for the great question. So let's talk about the curriculum. Like I said, it was a 6-week training program. In the end, I think maybe we could have gone on for another 6 weeks, but we wanted to really keep the training program manageable for the people going through the program. So we had 6 weeks to cover a lot of material. And we did build in depth of the material from week to week. So we started with more foundational skills in week 1 and week 2. And then as we went through the program, the depth and detail of the modules got harder and more difficult. So week 1, like I said, we started with foundational nutrition skills. And at Beyond Hunger, our nutrition team really believes that cooking and good cooking skills are foundations to nutrition. So we started with learning knife skills and knife safety. That week, we also did goal setting, like I talked about before, with each health ambassador, and provided them with an overview of the program and what they would be learning for the next 6 weeks. Exactly what did they get themselves into? The next week, week 2, we learned another foundational skill to nutrition and cooking, and that's food safety. Because our health ambassadors are going to be going out into the community and doing food demonstration and teaching cooking classes, we have to do it safely. So we spent a whole week talking about things like holding temperatures and cooking temperatures and what does your refrigerator need to be set at. And while it's not probably the most riveting material they learned, like we said, it's a foundation to good nutrition and cooking. We also did some team building activities that week, and worked on our public speaking skills with our communications manager at Beyond Hunger as well. The third week, we decided to go into nutrition material, and we called it Nutrition 101. We focused on the macronutrients that week. So that's protein, carbohydrates, and fats. We talked a lot about what those foods were in particular. Then we talked about the various food groups and what kind of food fit into what food groups. And then we applied that to the USDA My Plate model, which is a nutrition model that is used across the US. And personally, I have found it to be a really great teaching tool when you talk to people about nutrition habits. So we did that My Plate model in the third week. Week 4's material was especially complex because we talked about the nutrition facts label. And this is something that appears on all packaged and processed foods in the US. But what I have found in my experience is that a lot of consumers don't understand that nutrition facts label. And just like the cooking skills are foundational to nutrition, understanding the nutrition facts label is essential to good nutrition. So we spent a lot of time working on the nutrition facts label. We talked about like, what are the different kind of fats that you're going to see on the label? What do those different kind of fats mean for your body? You see a whole label that says carbohydrates, but what are those other words under carbohydrates and why are they under there? What is a percent daily value? And what does that mean in terms of the whole nutrition facts label? So we spent a long time working on that and understanding the ingredient list that appears right under the nutrition facts label on most foods. We also talked about micronutrients that week. People were really, really interested in vitamins and minerals and what they do for the body. We did not foresee that interest happening. So we kind of threw that together on the fly between week 4 and week 5. We got the feedback that, yeah, you talked about macronutrients, but what about those micronutrients? So the dietetic interns and I worked to put a lesson together on micronutrients due to the feedback of our class participants, which is why I love that in-person programming. The 5th week, we took our knowledge on nutrition basics and applied it directly to diabetes. We called it Diabetes 101. Many people that were actually everyone that was participating in our program had a direct connection with diabetes, whether it was they themselves that had diabetes or they were caring for someone that had diabetes in their family. We talked about the etiology of diabetes, what are signs and symptoms, but we really focused on the nutrition for diabetes. We introduced the diabetes plate that week, which looks very similar to the USDA My Plate, but is just geared specifically for people who are interested in blood sugar management. And then we had our Beyond Hunger social service worker, Christina, come in and talk to our health ambassadors about how when they're out in the community and they see someone that has a need, they can connect them with the service that they need out in the community. So we really appreciated having her that day. And then on week 6, we decided to take this knowledge that we had gained on nutrition and diabetes and apply it to cooking for diabetes, which is ultimately the end goal. It's like you take all this knowledge and how are we going to apply it in real life? So we worked on recipe development for blood sugar management. People got to do homework where they took their favorite recipe and they tweaked it just a little bit to make it more conducive to blood sugar management. We had time in the kitchen where we were cooking a cauliflower fried rice, where we subbed out the white rice for cauliflower rice, and tried that. And people actually thought it was really quite delicious. And then we worked to develop that personal pathway for all of our health ambassadors in their final 6-week evaluation. Here are some of the materials that we used in our training module. Our nutrition team developed all of these ourselves. It was a really large manual, and we're really quite proud of how we worked together to develop these nutrition handouts and lessons. And now I'm going to bring in Markeisha to the conversation, who is one of our star health ambassadors. And so I'm going to ask you, Markeisha, from the 6-week curriculum, what was your favorite piece of that curriculum?
All of it, but specifically the label reading. I enjoy learning how to read the labels. So now I go in the store, I know how to read the labels. I know how much sugar I'm intaking or how much I don't want to intake because it says on the box what you're gonna intake. So yeah, reading the label.
Thank you so much, Markeisha. Nina, did you have some questions for Markeisha as well?
Yeah, Markeisha, I was curious about why did you decide to apply for the program after you heard about it?
Oh, good question. Okay, so I was introduced to the program by my pastor, Pastor McIntyre, who I've been knowing for like 12, 13 years. So when he told me about the program, because Bree keep mentioning about the stipend, so you guys that are interested in it, don't worry about the stipend. So yeah, when he told me about it, I was like tremendously excited. And here's the interesting part about it. I was praying to God and I was talking, I'm like, Lord, I need to control my diabetes. And then also I have a 13-year-old son, took him to the doctor and they were saying he was borderline. So I'm like, okay, I'm talking to God. You know, I need to be able to control my diabetes and try to do better and be a better example so that my son will be able, my children, because I have 3, will be able to eat healthy. In the midst of it, he answered my prayers because my pastor came and told me about the program and I was just so excited about it. And I took it as an opportunity, you know, to be educated on it because that's what we're lacking today, lack of education on diabetes. I had no one to educate me on it. But however, now that I'm being educated on it, I'm learning to control and manage my diabetes better.
Yes, that's awesome. And I'm just curious too, like, you kind of expressed some of your experience with the program, but like, how was it? And then now that you went through the program, what are some goals that you've kind of set for yourself?
Okay, so like I said, the program is really nice. Being educated on, you know, some we probably wouldn't know because we don't know what questions to ask about them. I have been a diabetic for like 12 years since my last pregnancy, 12, 13 years. I didn't take it seriously. You know, I lost tremendous weight. And now that I am educated on it, like I said, I'm able to manage it better. And the best part of it all is being able to go out into the community and being able to share with others, you know, the knowledge of what I've learned about it. My goals, because I work in the hospital, so my biggest thing is I even share the education with the patients. You know, and it's incredible. It's amazing to know something and be able to share it because the world tells you the game is to be sold and not told. But I'm telling you, man, God is good. And you get out here, you get out your comfort zone and the game will be told to you.
That's awesome. And I know you kind of talked about your connection with Pastor Mac, who Pastor Mac is through What About Us? He's also a partner of Beyond Hunger. But like, what are some things that you guys are thinking about of what to do within your congregation with this work?
Okay, so this is my first presentation. I'm gonna take this information and I'm gonna share it with the elders in the church, because we have elders in the church that are battling diabetes. And then we're also gonna open up more programs, and this will include our youth and our teens. So I'll be able to share it with them as well.
Thank you, Markeisha. I love that you've had like a very positive experience with our program, but I'm just curious, like, is there anything that could be improved moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, because the program, like I said, it's for our elders with diabetes, who's battling diabetes. But then we also have to think about the fact that you actually have babies that are born with it, you know, and mothers probably don't even know anything about it. Young parents are having children. And then we also have our teens. I work in the hospital, so I've been seeing a lot of our teenagers come in there, you know, fighting with diabetes, and it's just getting the best of them. And you could just see, you know, the looks on their face, how they want to kind of give up on life. And I mean, I'm sharing my education with all who has a listening ear.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Markeisha, for sharing your personal experience. And one thing that you said to me that really meant a lot to me as a mother, she is a mother as well, is that she, and I don't know if you want to speak about this anymore, Markeisha, please unmute and comment if you do, is that, you know, she was really proud of herself, and we're so proud of her because she knows that her children are watching her and she's taking control of her health and her diabetes. And one of the things that I love about nutrition is that you can speak volumes by actions and not just through lecturing people and talking to people. You know, as a parent, you're a real role model for your children, especially in terms of nutrition. So they're watching Markeisha. They're seeing her make different choices when she's shopping. They're seeing her you know, make choices when she's cooking at home, and she's affecting their lives without even, you know, teenagers don't want to hear it from us. They don't want the lecture. So she is making changes within her own family life too, without even saying anything. So I just really wanted to note my appreciation for sharing that with us, Markeisha, and chime in if there's anything else you wanted to say about that.
No, but I thank you for your opinion. I'm just grateful to be a part of this program, really.
We're really grateful to have you. We're gonna shift gears and talk about, we're gonna come back to Markeisha and Nina in just a second. What we wanted to talk about next was why we chose the self-assessment as an evaluation tool for this program. And we decided to use self-assessment for a couple different reasons. We used it in place of a traditional quiz because we really wanted our health ambassador trainees to absorb the information that they were getting and really, take their time with that, with the information and the lessons without having to worry about a score on a piece of paper. So we wanted them to have a self-paced, self-assessed, and a personalized reflection of their learning without being attached to a pass or a fail or a particular score coming out of this. And really, we felt that the self-assessment tool would allow the trainees to really be have a lot of control over their learning experience. So in terms of self-paced, at the end of each week when they took their self-assessment for that week's material, they would complete it and then hand it in, and then the dietetic interns and I would look at it, and we would easily be able to identify who needed additional time and support for that week and on what specific topic. they needed that support. We also, that also kind of ties in with the self-assessment or the self-assessed bullet point here. But as they were taking these self-evaluations, our trainees could look at, were you succeeding at achieving your personal goals? So like I said, each individual came in with their own personal goals for this program. And so they could really look at that assessment and say, did I meet my personal goals for this week? Not Bree's goals, not Nina's goals. Did I meet my goals for this week? And then we allowed for them to have some self-reflection time, that if you maybe you didn't meet your goals, or if you wanted to have a little bit extra time and support to work with us to get you to where you wanted to be that week. So we really like the self-assessment tool. And then at the end of the self-assessment, at the end of the 6-week training program, we did their final self-assessment, and that did help us identify some ongoing training needs that we needed to provide for our health ambassadors to really, for us to really feel comfortable to have them go out into the community and provide the work that we wanted them to do and that they wanted to do. So next slide, please, Sarah. Oh, here are 6 graduates before we move on. These are our pilot program graduates. This is Michelle Graham on the left, Joanna next to her. Then we have Tracy, Sandra, Elijah, and on the right is Markesia. So these are our 6 pilot program graduates. So like I said, those self-evaluations, especially the exit evaluation after the 6th week, showed us that there was some ongoing training that we wanted to provide for our health ambassadors. We identified that they wanted opportunities for skill development, particularly in the field of public speaking. We did have some individuals who were very comfortable speaking in front of a group, but we also had individuals who had never done that before. So we wanted to provide ongoing support for wherever they were on that spectrum. We also found that they wanted to learn more about advocacy work and how they could advocate for good nutrition and nutrition programming in their neighborhoods and their communities. They wanted networking opportunities, so to connect with other people that were doing similar work as them, and also networking with other community organizations as well, and community partners. They wanted to receive help on developing resume and their personal bios. And then we also had each health ambassador take the food handler's license and achieve their certification with that online program through ServeSafe. Because as they're going out into the community and they're providing these cooking classes and food demos, to have that food handler's certification is pretty essential. And that was something that Beyond Hunger provided for them as well. And then, like I said, we did an individualized outreach plan with each health ambassador that would show, that help kind of guide as to what sort of programming and outreach that particular person wanted to do with their ambassadorship. This is, the food handler certification is not free, but it's only $15 through the ServeSafe program. That was one of the questions in the chat. So it's pretty low cost. This is a picture of 2 of our dietetic interns and then 2 of our health ambassadors, Joanna and Elijah. Here, they're doing some networking. They are working at our food pantry during our food distribution when people come in and shop for their groceries. At the nutrition education table, we have recipes that we change out monthly. The recipes support our nutrition education theme. Then we have some nutrition handouts, some general information about social services, and then our organization newsletter as well. So as people are coming through and shopping for their groceries, they're also connecting with our health ambassadors and getting some nutrition education on the fly there. Next slide. So for us, I think coming out of this pilot program, we all learned some really valuable lessons, and each one of us is going to talk a little bit about what lesson was most impactful to ourselves. So I'll start. For me, the lesson I learned was regarding that self-assessment tool. I really wanted to coming out of our pilot program, I really want to firm up the self-assessments so they can be more connected to real life data. And so we'll probably be restructuring the self-assessments a little bit. Something I did not initially do was start with a baseline self-assessment. So before week 1 even starts, as people are being recruited and welcomed into the program, starting with a baseline self-assessment would, I think, be ideal to help us with more concrete data collection and analysis in the future. So Nina, what would be your lesson learned?
Yeah, I would say mine is more of a takeaway. So we did a lot of due diligence at the beginning, Bree and I, in terms of like determining what this program will look like. We didn't really get into all of it, but for instance, like the curriculum itself, it's like over 100 hours that Bree kind of worked on the curriculum along with the dietetic interns. And also taking that time to do our research, contacting different universities to get their input on what we're doing. I think the biggest thing is that if you're interested in implementing this program, just, do your due diligence, talk to organizations that, doing it. You can come talk to us. We're willing to always be here as a resource. But I think that's helped us make the program as successful as it has been. And then what about Markeisha? What's your lesson learned?
My lesson learned here, I must say, it allowed me to get out of my comfort zone. Because normally I would be like, nah, I don't want to do that. That don't sound like something I do. But I'm glad I was offered this opportunity. I'm glad that I was able to be a part of this opportunity. Yeah, it helped me to get out of my comfort zone. So, I mean, when you get up and you're speaking in front of everybody, you be a little nervous, but I'm quick to shake that off. And I love to interact with people. Like, I'm always meeting people and conversate with them. So know that they're gonna know about the Healthy Ambassador. But for me, yeah, my comfort zone, getting out of my comfort zone.
Thank you, Markeisha, and thank you, Nina. We're happy you went out of your comfort zone, Markeisha. I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about some of the upcoming events that our health ambassadors are going to be doing and what kind of work they're also going to be focusing on. Like I mentioned, they got their Serve Safe Handler certification, and this will allow for bi-weekly food demos at our Austin Farmers Market between the months of June and October. So we have a table at the Austin Farmers Market, we do nutrition tours, and we do food demonstrations, and we're really happy that our health ambassadors are going to be leading several of those throughout the summer months and into the fall. Next week, we have the Loyola Strict School of Medicine has invited us to come to their nutrition exposition. And so the health ambassadors and I and some of our nutrition team are going to go over there and spread the word about Beyond Hunger and our programming there. In March, we are hosting at our Oak Park facility, the Northwestern University Cardiology Department is coming for a health fair, and our health ambassadors will be working the Beyond Hunger and talking about what makes our food pantry, the foods in our food pantry healthy, and how you can cook with and create recipes with the various foods that you'll get from the foods at Beyond Hunger. Markeisha specifically is going to be working on the What About Us program with her pastor, Pastor McIntyre. And this is just going to be ongoing opportunities indefinitely for her and some of our other health ambassadors. We're starting that in March, so coming up really soon. One of our other community partners is the Austin Eats organization, and we're going to be working with them through the summer and fall months. And then we just are scheduling nutrition classes in the community throughout the spring and summer months. Next slide, please, Sarah. And we're very excited that we are moving past the pilot program phase. And so we are starting our next cohort for the Health Ambassador Program. We're going to start recruitment for our next group in March, in early spring. And then we hope to start this next group in May. And the really cool thing that I love about the Health Ambassador Program is that our current health ambassadors are going to be mentoring the new trainees. So it's going to be like a full circle moment for a lot of us. So that's our next cohort. Does anyone have any questions? I did see some in the chat, but does anyone have any specific questions for us?
And I can read some of these off, but I do know, Markeisha, you have one more thought you wanted to share with the group before we get into questions.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to share a little thought why I say getting out my comfort zone. You know, because we all have our past and we let our past dictate our future. And my pastor once shared some encouraging words with me. You know, don't let your past mistake hinder your future progress. And hearing those words, you know, allow me to be able to open up and get out my comfort zone. And in doing so, you know, I was able to go back to school and get my high school diploma, become a certified CNA, certified PCT, a certified phlebotomist, and then also I'm furthering my nursing career, so I'm still in school for nursing. So I just kind of wanted to share that a little bit for, you know, just because you're older, you know, you're never too old for anything. I'm 42. You're never too old. I told my story to somebody before. He maybe was like 20 something. It was a patient. And he looked like, you should have stayed out there. And I'm like, well, every day that you wake up, God give you a chance. Share that testimony for me. I said, because you're never too old for anything. So for those that are letting their past mistake hinder their future progress, don't. You can do whatever God allows you to do. Whatever you ask him, you can do it.
And on that note, mic drop, Markeisha ended the presentation. But let's get into some of these questions. So, and some of these I can answer as well as people on my team. So Beyond Hunger, they want to know if we pay the ambassadors. So we did pay them, as I mentioned, not just for their training, but also doing this community work in the future. So that's really big on why we decided to do the program. Kind of going back into like that racial equity work we were talking about, we knew that was important. Someone else asked, have you all done any exploring about connecting with local urban gardens, farms to support supplies, or any other community-based markets and grocers, as well as the SNAP match? And Bree, you can kind of chime in with this too. But I think the biggest thing is that we've worked with several organizations in Austin. So one of them being 40 Acres. We're also part of the Austin Farmers Market, which I talked about. So we do see ourselves continuing to do that work. We just couldn't fit everything in this 1 hour presentation and still be able to answer questions. So yes, we are continuously looking into that type of work. Bree, did you have anything to add or?
Only at the farmers market, we do some of the SNAP match education there, or the link match education. There's a booth at the Austin Farmers Market, which is located at the Austin Village Town Hall. The farmers market's like on the front lawn there. And so there is a booth for the link match program there. And we include that education in all of our tours. So at the farmers market. So our part of connecting people with services mission with the health ambassadors is, you know, connecting people to benefits and actually learning how to use those benefits to their best potential.
Yeah, and Bree kind of talked about how our health ambassadors will be doing some of those farmers market tours moving forward. So they're going to be directly involved in that. And then Bree, someone asked, how many hours per week was the program?
The program met in person for we said 3 hours a week. A lot of the time, our health ambassadors were nice enough to stay longer so we could finish the material for the lessons. And then each week they had some homework to do that just some carryover from the lesson from that week to really solidify some of the information and do that work throughout the week. And then we connected over the phone with all of our health ambassadors each week as well. And those conversations lasted, anywhere from 5 minutes, like, hey, I got it all. I'm super excited. I'm like up to speed. And then sometimes people would be like, hey, this was hard for me. Can I come in and spend a little bit of extra time in the office, like learning this material? And, those individuals, sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes an hour or two. It just depended on the material we were covering. So I would say it started at 3 hours in person, and then it probably went up to maybe 6+ hours each week.
And then someone was curious about being able to access the assessments we were doing, like the self-assessments. You changed those pretty weekly though, right, Bree, depending on the topic, the self-assessments?
That's correct. Yeah, so I did like the self-assessments as a tool. As I mentioned in the slides, we changed the questions for the self-assessments each week to match what was taught. So say, for example, we were talking about the USDA MyPlate. So maybe on week 3, we were talking about that. And so, rank yourself on a scale of understanding the USDA MyPlate model. Do you feel comfortable with the the lesson on the different food groups? And based on how people would answer, that would kind of tell us, like, reach out to Health Ambassador X and talk about, let's talk about the MyPlate model and how we can get you up to speed on that material. But yeah, it's essentially changed every week. I think the biggest ones were the first one where we did the goal setting, and the exit one where it was like, we're creating your specific pathway now for what your health ambassadorship is going to look like.
Yeah, we can certainly share a template as well. I did put our emails in the chat, just in case you guys wanted to reach out. Someone was curious about, can high schools integrate a 6-week program like this? What are you guys' thoughts?
The question is high schools?
Yes.
I think it would be a great summer program, honestly, for people who are looking to get into the health sciences or the field of health and wellness, to get their feet wet and to go through some sort of like health ambassadorship like this, to get their feet wet before they commit to a career or a career pathway, or even someone who, may be living with diabetes or another chronic condition, or supports a family member with diabetes or a related condition, and they want to learn for personal reasons and spread that information throughout their community. So I think definitely this could be something that could be adapted to high school age format.
Thank you, Bree. So I'm not sure if they're going to cut us off in 1 minute, but I do want to share like all these great things that people have said about Markeisha. So Markeisha, someone said, Markeisha, also thank you so much for doing this work. They said their dad passed with diabetes and never told us. I'm so glad you're taking steps to empower yourself and your kids. That's so sweet. So thank you all for all your welcoming messages for all of us.
Yes, thank all of